Hi, students. This is Ms. Solomon coming to you to make a video about how to create a standard curve on Google Sheets. So let's say I have a concentration and an absorbance. Notice I don't have any units for this concentration, but that's okay. You should have units on your graphs. Also notice that my concentration it is in order, but the smallest is at the bottom. That's okay. I mean, you should set it up so that it is in some sort of order. Absorbance values are over here in the second column. I do have titles on those. I would recommend that you put units in both of these. So in order to make the standard curve, you will select the data that you want to graph. So I selected both columns, and then I will say Insert Chart. Now it comes up with a column chart. I don't want that. So here I will scroll down in the chart editor to chart type, and I will scroll down to scatter. Okay. What is this thing? Not sure. Anyway, I've scrolled down to scatter plot, but I still need to look at my data here. Let's say for some reason it does not come up that your axes are set up the way that you want them to. Notice that I can say, oh, x-axis, I want concentration. So that'll put the concentration on the x. Series is what the data what data is plotted. So sort of your y, and I want that to be absorbance. If it is not that way, I can click these and edit, remove, etc., and choose the data that I want on a specific axis. Okay. So just note that you can add that. You can add a second series if you want more than one line. We don't want that, but those options are here for you. Under Customize, I will look at the series again, which is the data that I have. I can change the color of those if I want. I can change which sort of points I have. Dots or squares are great. Nothing funky. And I could put data labels, which would put values here. I don't really want that either. But I do want a trend line. I want it to be linear, though it could be other things depending on my data. Again, I can change the color. I can change how opaque that line is. I might go up in opaqueness. And of course, I can't see it anywhere here, but anyway. I can change how thick it is. I want to label it using an equation. So that will give me the equation for my standard curve. And then I would also like to show the R-squared value, which tells me how well my data correlates to my line. And an R-squared value of 1 means it is perfectly correlated. All the dots exist on my line. I don't expect you to have an R-squared value of 1, but anything up in the 0.9 upwards range is really good. So an R-squared value here of 0.97 for this sample data is really great. Notice here on my graph equation, the values are very small. Absorbance values, concentration values tend to be small numbers. If you get an E, that E means an exponent, so 10 to the something. So it might say E negative 4. So that means 10 to the negative 4th. So it's a scientific notation value. Okay, and so that is how to make a standard curve. Let me just take this out here. Let's say you want a legend. You can put that there. You only really need a legend to show all of your information. What I do want is chart and axes titles. You should have those. So I can change the title of my chart, which is up here. And if I want to have a horizontal axis title, I can say concentration. Maybe this is in nanomolars or something. And I can change my vertical axis title to absorbance. I don't know what absorbance this is, but let's say 410 nanometers. Okay, so all of your graphs should have axes titles. Again, you can go back and forth and change whether or not you have grid lines, look at your data, etc. So you can play around with this. Anyway, that is a video on how to make a graph, specifically a standard curve graph on Google Sheets.